Hi everybody, I hope you're well. Just bringing you an astrology report on the upcoming astrological event this week. We have quite a few, but the main one may be, and I say the main one because we have got a new moon coming up with an eclipse as well. But before that, Pluto is going to be coming out of his retrograde and stationing direct, moving direct. So you might be thinking, yes, finally. It's not going to stop the transformation journey, of course. We've been on this for some time, but with retrogrades, that's all about the introspective side of it. So, of course, we look at a retrograde of a planet, and whatever that planet is teaching us, the retrograde allows us that time to go within. It may feel like it's stagnant as we're kind of navigating through because the planet has stopped. So, of course, we are needing to reflect, to introspect on these items, whatever they might be. And Pluto is all about deep transformation. It's not surface level stuff. This is deep. This is soul depth that can be quite uncomfortable, and maybe has been for anyone that's resonating with that on this journey of transformation, on this journey of healing, especially with everything else going on, with what Saturn is trying to help us with as well, getting us in alignment with our spiritual truth. Often that means we need to transform something that is deep within us. So we need to kind of take that magnifying glass at what is in the depths of our soul, and it's all to help us, but it can feel quite uncomfortable. So this journey of Pluto's retrograde has been quite intense, to say the least. Again, it's all to help us, and recognizing now that with Pluto coming out of retrograde, the introspective part of it is over, but we're still needing to transform. It may just allow us then that movement forward in terms of taking action about what we want to transform. Of course, we evolve all the time through our journey of life in this 3D reality, but this is about the deep transformation that's been needed and what's been illuminated to us that needs to be transformed on whatever level that might be. And in terms of whatever house this may be going on for in our own natal charts, of course, I look at the collective astrology, but when you look at your own chart, where has Pluto been retrograding? What house? And how does that impact the other planets in your natal chart? That can give you a great indication of what you've been really needing to transform in this journey, or on this journey. So yes, Pluto is going to be going direct on Wednesday, the 11th of October, okay, at 2:10 a.m. for those of us in the UK. So apply your own time zones as appropriate. And as I'm recording this video, I'm recording it on the 9th. Venus is now in Virgo. So Venus transited into Virgo early hours of this morning at 2:11. So very interesting that there's a minute difference in the time. I know it's a different day, so, you know, but it's very interesting, that kind of similarity with the time. That being said, okay, we're focusing on Pluto going direct. And at that time, Venus, yes, will be in Virgo, because we know she's moved into Virgo today, and will be with the moon, because the moon will be in Virgo at that point as well. Now, Virgo can be that grounded energy. Of course, it's earth energy. But what have I been saying in other astrology reports? It's all about cleaning house, getting things in order. There can be this self-critical nature to Virgo as well, because there's this sense of wanting to feel in control. So with the moon there and Venus also in Virgo, there is this kind of sense of, right, are we feeling like we're in control, or where are we criticizing ourselves in terms of our investments, in terms of our resources? So that's that Venus energy. And in terms of the heart space, where are we investing our heart, our affection, our energy, our time, our love, our attention? And maybe we could be becoming a bit critical of this. And not surprising that Pluto is obviously coming direct. So that introspection of the transformation, and now when we're having to deal with it, that self-critical aspect could be coming up. But recognize also the trait to Virgo energy is loyalty. So we need to be loyal to ourselves with this on our path, you know, on this journey. And this is all part of this beautiful transformation that we're going through to get us more in alignment with our spiritual truth. And also with what's going on, Chiron in Aries, the sovereignty, we're becoming more empowered as a result. So I'm going to pull up the chart, okay? I'm going to pull up the chart as an event, and then I'm going to show you the chart against the UK's natal chart to give some context to the house system, okay? I've got some cards here as well, including my new deck, which I'm very excited to use. I have been using it for readings, but this is the first time for the collective post on YouTube. So let's see what comes through later on. Without further ado, let's pull up the chart. So bear with me whilst I get this one up on the screen for you. Okay, so Pluto direct. Okay, so as I said, 10 past 2 in the morning for us in the UK on the 11th of October. And we've got a few things going on that I was drawn to. There's many more aspects going on, but these are the ones I was intuitively guided towards, okay? And we've got Pluto over here in Capricorn, having just come out of the retrograde, so still at the final degrees of Capricorn, so still that kind of intensity to the energy. That's why the transformation continues, but this is about coming out of the introspection and applying now what we need to do to go forward in terms of the transformation journey. And there is this trine that's going across to Uranus, and that's the planet of change. Uranus is still in retrograde. So, of course, there is introspection going on about what we want to change and what we need to change when it comes to our worth and values, because Uranus is in Taurus. So that's still happening. And Pluto is, of course, now switched on, direct, okay, moving forward. And that's the kind of deep transformation when it comes to our structures, Capricorn energy, when it comes to rules, when it comes to karma, karmic situations. When it comes to that sort of task-orientated mentality of what we need to get done, but really with that regimented approach. And perhaps that has to change, perhaps that has to transform. And this trine, of course, with Uranus, where we might have identified that with the Pluto retrograde, of course, it's understanding now how this ties in with Uranus in terms of our worth and values. So recognizing as part of the Pluto retrograde, okay, that's got to transform because it's not in alignment with our worth and values. Our structure needs to change in some way, for example. So empowering ourselves to do that and understanding this is all part of this change journey that Uranus is asking for. Uranus can also be unexpected change. So we may have also experienced some of that where we've had to get our worth and values in check because of unexpected change, and that in turn has helped the transformation journey. So, you know, the trine is going between the two. It's that vice versa sort of, you know, energy, so to speak, working in harmony with one another. But also there is a square, okay, that's going from Pluto down to the Sun, the South Node, okay, and Mars is there as well, final degrees of Libra. So 29 degrees is the last degrees that a planet or a planetary body can be in before it moves to the next sign. And the day after this happens, on the 11th, we've got Mars moving into Scorpio. So that's happening on the 12th. So that's heavy masculine energy. And Mars is going to be moving into that scorpionic energy. There could be some kind of fieriness here to it. Because remember, Pluto rules Scorpio. So, you know, there could be this fieriness to this energy, but also this could be, you know, deep, passionate desires going on within the masculine energy. But remember, we've got masculine and feminine within us, regardless of gender or how we identify, okay? Because we've got the action side of the masculine, we've got the nurturing side of the feminine. We strive for balance, but often in this 3D reality, in life circumstances, we're having to find that balance because we respond to certain things, you know, that's life. So, you know, Mars being at the final degrees of Libra, wanting to take action, be motivated in terms of bringing in fairness and reciprocity and equal give and take, is then going to be moving into Scorpio, the depth. So this could be, you know, deeply transformational when it comes to the masculine energy, but also it could bring about more aggressive situations. So we need to just exercise caution with regards to that. And passion, you know, deep desires and passion can be something that comes from that energy as well. Mars in Scorpio. So yes, we need to be mindful of that, but also how this square is going across to Pluto and back, you know, there needs to be recognition that even though we want to drive forward and we want to restore balance and reciprocity, there's a square to Pluto because we need to just perhaps take a moment to understand, right, this is what we need to do. And it's almost like not being too eager. You know, we want to get things done, of course, but this is it feels to me like it's more of a slow and steady approach, but not too slow that we're not doing anything. But it's kind of, I get the feeling from, you know, this Mars energy, and certainly with it about to move into Scorpio, there is this desperation almost to get things done and to get things sorted. And we do want to get things sorted. But because this square is also going to the Sun and the South Node, there's also still karmic stuff that we're needing to cleanse and clear. And we need to make sure that our soul is in check with this balance that's needed from what's been highlighted through the Pluto retrograde. And again, because it could have been uncomfortable stuff coming up, it could even be relating to past life situations because the South Node is there also. So we're needing to restore that balance, but we're having to also deal with what's been coming up as potential patterns that we're needing to, you know, release. We need to accept, first of all, acknowledge why they're coming up, and then go about the healing process in order to release them and cleanse that karma, okay, to learn that lesson, also making Saturn happy. But it can be challenging, it can feel uncomfortable, which is why that square is there. That's what I feel. You know, and the Mars energy wants us to get things going, to get things moving, and wants to get into that kind of depth of Scorpio. Is desperate, you know, he's at the door, like waiting to get into Scorpio. But it's kind of like a no, we need to just make sure that we are going through this in a steady way for us. Okay, that's how that feels to me. And certainly when we look at here, we've got the Sun opposite Chiron, direct opposition. They're both 17 degrees. Okay, so Chiron is, of course, in Aries, as I mentioned, about the sovereignty. So that's all about the warrior self. Aries is the house of the self. So we're looking after ourself when it comes to our healing journey, but also we are being empowered by this journey of transformation that we've been going through and the healing that we've been going through. And with the Sun in direct opposition to this, this is our soul challenging our healing journey. This is our soul wanting fairness and reciprocity and balance and justice, challenging our healing journey within our sovereignty because of what might be coming up from the Pluto retrograde and what's been illuminated to us in the full moons that we've had, you know, and etc. So we've had a lot of stuff illuminated to us, and this can be challenging. So this is just a bit of a face-off between the Sun and Chiron to almost say, right, got to get my soul balanced here and understand what's going on. And I'm feeling a bit rocky on the old sovereignty. So understanding what's coming up from the Pluto retrograde and understanding that, yes, we want to take action, but needing that moment to accept and acknowledge what might have been coming up in terms of, you know, karmic debris, if you like, or past life patterns that may have been coming up. So being kind to ourselves and understanding that even though there is that opposition energy, it might feel challenging to us, but ultimately this is making us more empowered throughout this whole process anyway. So the energy is working for us in that way. We are restoring balance because we're understanding what is reciprocal, what isn't reciprocal, what's fair, what's not fair. We've been understanding that for a while. So yes, it may be like, okay, in terms of sovereignty, let me just move the crown a little bit to make sure it's straight on my head. Right, I've got it. You know, it's like that. It's like a little adjustment. Right, I know my sovereignty because we're having that checkpoint, if that makes sense. Yeah, little hold point, if you like. From Pluto also, there is a sextile that's going to Neptune, and Neptune is Pisces, also retrograde. So we need to look at the light and shadow side of Neptune, of course. But there is a sextile. So this deep transformation that Pluto has been calling for is working in harmony with the Neptunian energy of the spiritual essence. So this is where I feel this is to do with that soul essence, you know, the Piscean soul essence of the intuition. And our intuition is extremely powerful. And we're not always tapped into it, but when we do tap into it, the answers are all there because our soul our intuition doesn't lie to us. So it's important to recognize that. Sometimes we don't want to hear it, but the soul tells us the truth. That's our connection to the divine. That's source energy running through us. It's magical, it's powerful, it's ethereal. Okay. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Pisces, but this is about our spiritual energy that's flowing within our vessel. And Pluto, with this deep transformation of our structures, working in harmony with the Neptunian energy of our intuition, understanding where our structures need to change and transform, understanding where the rules that maybe we've set ourselves or that other people have ordained upon us don't sit right with our intuition. So it's utilizing that energy to work for us. Also understanding with the shadow side of Neptune, where confusion has been coming up, where illusion has been coming up, where deception has been coming up. And that's also helping the transformation, because when we can see that clearly, because our soul, our intuition is telling us that, okay, even if it's self-deception, self-sabotage because of past experiences, fears, doubts, anxieties, whatever it might be. Okay, this is part of the human experience. So we're understanding this, and that's helping us deeply transform as well. Because when we can understand that and we can kind of relate that to a pattern, okay, it's like, right, okay, that's why that keeps happening then. My intuition's just told me that. It's been illuminated to me. So now I need to transform it. And that's where I can work with the Pluto energy, because I want to release that once and for all. Okay, and it could be deep stuff because it's the Pluto and it's Neptune also. And Neptune, you know, because of Neptune being that kind of outer planet out there, does alert the rest of the solar system to things going on. So just in that way, Pisces, which is why it's the spiritual sign, can understand things before many of the other signs. It's the 12th house as well, okay, acquired all the wisdom of the other houses and the other signs. But we've all got the intuition within us if we tap into it. So this is where we can alert ourselves to things via the intuition. And our intuition is probably doing that all the time. It's whether we're listening to it, okay? So yes, that's just a little point on that I wanted to say. The other thing, because I mentioned about the moon being with Venus, there is a trine from the moon in Virgo up to Jupiter in Taurus. Okay, so Jupiter is there with Uranus, and they're both in Taurus. So this is about worth and values. And because it's the moon in trine to Jupiter, there's hope here within our emotions when it comes to getting things cleaned up, Virgo energy, in accordance with our worth and values, Taurus energy. And it's grounded energy as well, 2 earth signs. Jupiter in retrograde is offering, again, introspection. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So that's going on inside because it's a retrograde. So this is about inner growth and expansion when it comes to our worth and values, and how that works in harmony with our feelings when it comes to what we need to clean up, and, you know, our loyalties to ourselves and other people. Okay, so it's harmonious. It is harmonious. Now there was something else I noted down that I didn't draw on here because I didn't want to overcomplicate it, but we've also got Venus in direct opposition to Saturn. So that was quite something. So Venus is 1 degree of Virgo at this point, direct opposition to Saturn, 1 degree of Pisces, opposite signs, of course. So what does that mean? You might be thinking. So Saturn, of course, very powerful planet, not messing around, serving up lessons, serving up karmic returns, whether that's blessings or more lessons, you know, karma, all of this, getting us in alignment with our spiritual truth. Pisces, he's in the house of the divine. So this is getting us sorted with what we need to learn to get us in alignment with our spiritual truth. And I've said this before in other astrology reports, but when he entered Pisces on the 7th of March, he entered Pisces 55 minutes after the full moon in Virgo. And I found that extremely interesting because 55, powerful master number relating to change, big change. Full moon, illumination, also releasing in the sign of Virgo, quite critical. But in that respect, I kind of painted this image in my very own Piscean way of saying, you know, the full moon kind of walked into the interview room, turned on the light because it's the full moon, got us ready, 55 minutes to prepare for Saturn walking in the room. And then Saturn entered Pisces. Hi, everyone. I'm in Pisces now. Let's get things sorted out, please. Have you learned those lessons from the last 3 years when I was in Aquarius? No? Okay, let's go round again. I might give it you in a different way, but it's the same lesson. Let's see if you learned it this time. Okay, let's see if you can get into alignment with your spiritual truth. Let's see, if I need to serve up some more lessons, or are you going to get rewarded for all the lessons you've gone through whilst I was in Aquarius? Because here you go, here's some blessings I'm going to dish out for you. And it's all in alignment with our spiritual truth. So he's not messing around. Saturn energy doesn't mess around. And Pluto, of course, has been retrograde in his house. Pluto started the retrograde in Aquarius and then retrograded back into Saturn's house of Capricorn. So those two have been working together, because while Saturn's been serving up these lessons and the karmic returns, Pluto's been going, all right, Saturn, I got you, mate. I am going to just clean up your house a little bit. And all these structures and outdated rules that people think are right for them, I am going to clean these up. They are not working for people. So this is why it could have felt harsh and why it could have felt intense, because they've been working together in this way, all for our highest good. That's very important to remember. And I'll remind you, and I go by the same, I'm part of the collective, okay? If we don't feel the uncomfortableness of this, how do we know we've got to change things? So this has been intense for a reason, to get us in alignment with our spiritual truth, okay? This opposition between Saturn and Venus, okay, is a reminder about our investments and how they're serving our soul's purpose, basically. So where are we investing our resources? Where do our loyalties lie, Venus in Virgo? Where do our loyalties lie? With ourselves? Are we being loyal to ourselves by investing in those areas that bring us joy, that make our heart happy? Because if so, brilliant. Saturn's just reminding us of that, and we're good to go, Saturn. It's in alignment with my spiritual truth. But if we're still investing in areas, in people or places, things, whatever it might be, that are not serving us, well, this Virgo energy is going to allow us to be critical of that, because Saturn's going to remind us of that. So it's all for our highest good. And Venus, of course, has been with Juno for a while. There was that exact conjunction that was going on that was very significant for soulmate energy, nurturing soulmate energy, partnership energy. Well, now Venus is in Virgo, leading the way with the heart space. Again, loyal to the self. And Juno and Lilith are still there in Leo at the last degrees, because remember, 29 degrees is the last degrees. So one's at 26, one's at 27. There's still a conjunction going on with all three of them, but it's just not exact. But Lilith and Juno are in Leo. So, the feminine energy, the light and shadow feminine energy, is working together in Leo, the sign of the heart space, the sign of the courageous lion, the sign of that abundance and joy that we want to feel, that true expression of our soul when it comes to love. And understanding, where might we be fearful of being open to love? Are we afraid to love? Because Lilith is going to be showing us that. Juno is going to then nurture us through this. This soulmate partnership is going to nurture us through it, even if this is energetic at this stage. So recognizing this is the energy indicating, and has been for a week or 2 weeks or so, a loving soulmate partnership connection that could just be beginning, okay? May not even be in the 3D reality, but this is on a soul level. This is happening, okay? The energy is there to support. So understanding, of course, we can nurture ourselves through this. We've got the energy within us to do this. We've got the masculine and feminine energy. So we want to take action, but we also know how to nurture ourselves. We sometimes need to be reminded of that, though. Okay, so with the moon in Virgo, Venus in Virgo, yes, we've got to be loyal to ourselves first and foremost and make sure that we're investing in the places and the people that bring us joy. And that's going to make Saturn happy. Okay, so that's just to cover that opposition energy there. Okay, whoosh, right. Let me pull up the other chart, okay, to show you the transits against the UK's natal chart. And let me just take a sip of water from my mega pint of water. Stay hydrated, folks. Okay. So you can see here, inner wheel is the UK's natal chart and the outer wheel is Pluto direct. So that's that moment, 2:10 for the UK. Okay, because this is the UK I'm looking at. If we were looking at America, we'd look at the American natal chart and then we would look at the transits and it would be based on that time zone. Okay, this is to show you just for the context of the UK, all right, with the house system, etc. So we've got Pluto, because that's what we're focusing on, in the 6th house, all right, and that trine that's going across to Uranus is in the 11th house. So, you know, this is very much about where we're of service to other people, 6th house, and connections with other people, 11th house. See a bit of a pattern there? So where do things need to transform and change when it comes to us being of service to others and our connections with others? Where do our connections with others that are not in alignment with our worth and values need to change? Also, where do our daily routines and schedules need to change? And how can that work in harmony with our connections with others? In accordance with our worth and values, and making sure that any outdated structures or rules are also transforming at the same time. The square that's going from Pluto, that's going to the Sun, the South Node, and Mars is in the 4th house. So that's our foundations. So the Sun is transiting through the house of our foundations for the UK's natal chart. And that's where the Libra, the majority of the Libra energy is. So we want balance in our foundations. We want to feel like we're building a foundation that is fair, that is balanced, that is reciprocal, where there's equal give and take, and where there's justice. Of course, that's what we want. So the square is again just indicating where certain things might have been coming up during the retrograde, could have been a challenging energy because of perhaps karmic or past life situations that have challenged the balance, that need to be transformed but can be feeling uncomfortable, again with that square energy, and where the masculine drive within us wants to get things sorted, is desperate to get into the Scorpio energy, but recognizing that we need to still establish this fairness in this moment in time to get grounded, to get balanced. Okay, and I know it's air energy, it's not earth energy when I said grounded, but there is a groundedness to it because we want to build our foundations on fairness and we want to apply that going forward. Now, Libra is of course also relating to relationships because Libra rules the 7th house. So, you know, yes, karmic relationships, past life relationships coming up, and where our expression might be being challenged as well, where we need to communicate because Mercury is also there. So this is all stuff that could have been coming up during the Pluto retrograde. Okay. The sextile to Neptune, Neptune's in the 9th house of discovery. So yes, where we've been discovering more about our intuition and what our intuition's been telling us, that's been helping the transformation journey of Pluto. Okay. The other trine going from the moon up to Jupiter. So Jupiter's in the 10th and the moon is in the 2nd. So of course, when it comes to our worth and values and how we feel, and maybe being a bit critical because, you know, of the moon being in Virgo at that point, wanting things a certain way, wanting to feel in control, certainly when it comes to our worth and values, this is working beautifully with the hope that's there in the 10th house of inner authority, work and social status, and also the inner expansion that Jupiter is bringing us when it comes to our worth and values within our own inner authority. So we're understanding how we feel when it comes to what needs to change, where we need to get things in order with our worth and values. And then we've got Jupiter in Taurus, which is worth and values, allowing us that inner expansion, that inner growth when it comes to our sovereignty, but from a place of our worth and values, because he is in Taurus and not in Aries, but he's sharing that house with Aries energy. Okay. And just on that as well, you know, I mentioned about the sun being directly opposite Chiron. So Chiron is there in the 10th house. No surprises, of course. Yes, inner authority. And this is to do with sovereignty. So our healing journey, and that face off with the soul energy of just wanting to establish fairness and reciprocity. Okay, like I mentioned before. But understanding that we are becoming more empowered as a result of everything else going on, because we're getting in line with our spiritual truth. So we're becoming more empowered and confident in our sovereignty as a result of that. Okay. And then we've got Venus over here in Virgo in that direct opposition to Saturn. So Venus in the 2nd house, Saturn in the 8th house. So yes, very much about where are we investing our time, energy, attention, etc. You know, what makes us happy? Where are we being loyal to ourselves? Are we being loyal to ourselves when it comes to our investments? And how Saturn is reminding us in the house of power, because he's actually in, you know, the Scorpio house. So he's in the Scorpio house in this particular chart. And, you know, where do we need to own our personal power when it comes to our own investments? It's challenging that energy, because that might involve us speaking up, that might involve us actually stepping out of a comfort zone and recognizing with the Lilith energy and the Juno energy there. And I said about the shadow feminine side, understanding, you know, if there's any fears around being open to receive love or being open to receive joy, that Saturn is just bringing us in line with that by reminding us of how powerful we are. So we can get into alignment with our spiritual truth, but there may just be that challenging energy to overcome stepping out of a comfort zone, or allowing ourselves to be open to not only invest in the things that we want to invest in, but to receive from that as well, because that might be the bit that's causing the fear, to actually receive into the heart space, the joy, because maybe we've been used to receiving pain and that's all we're used to. So if we invest in something that we want to, because it brings us joy, you know, it's something we want to do, and then we're going to get that reciprocal energy back, is that where the walls go up? Because it's like, I can't possibly receive joy because it's just going to hurt me. No, this is reminding us of our power and how we can take back that power when it comes to our spiritual truth and our divinity, and understanding what we can do. But Venus and the moon in Virgo, yes, understanding we want to feel in control. Of course we do. So we want to feel in control, and these doubts and fears coming up, you know, we want to feel in control. So it's like, no, I'm going to put the wall up because I feel in control. Whereas actually it's allowing the energy to nurture us and to recognize this energy is bringing these things up for a reason, and then allowing ourselves to release the fears and doubts, become more sovereign within our healing journey of Chiron in Aries, be loyal to ourselves, and understand it's safe to then let those guards down, because the energy is working for us in that way. Okay. Very powerful, isn't it? There's also a sextile from Venus. This is the other thing I noted down here. Venus and the sun in the south node, there is a sextile there. Okay, so, you know, as much as there's that challenging energy from Pluto, there's also the nurturing energy from Venus. And again, in terms of what we're investing in. So that's where the harmony works, because from a soul's perspective, the sun in Libra, the soul essence of the cosmos is wanting us within the soul to get that reciprocity and to get justice. So it's understanding that, okay, we need to acknowledge where we are investing our resources and how that can bring us the fairness and balance when we're following that. Yeah. So that's also important to note. And also, you know, interestingly, because Venus is 1 degree of Virgo, having just moved into that sign, Mars 29 degrees, desperate to get into Scorpio. That's why there is that feeling of, you know, Venus is kind of behind Mars by way of the transits. You know, she's moving through. Mars, it almost feels like there's a bit more of a push to kind of, you know, I want to get into Scorpio, want to get into the depths of this. And understanding that Venus has just entered a sign and Mars is just about to enter a sign. So it's kind of like new experiences going on for the masculine and feminine energy within us. That's just something to point out. Okay, but all in all, this is helping us transform. This is part of the deep transformation that Pluto has been calling for. And I'll stop sharing the screen now. You know, Pluto's been calling for this during the introspection. So it's gone a bit dark now, hasn't it? So I might have to just put the light on. Bear with me. Because the seasons are a-changing, aren't they? So started it off when it was light and now it's got a bit darker. So yes, this is the deep transformation that Pluto has been calling for within that introspection, and we've had to really look within and go within. And as I said at the beginning, that can be challenging in itself to go within, you know, because it's more comfortable sometimes to just deal with what's going on and to not have to focus on the inside, and especially when it comes to loyalty to oneself. So Venus being in Virgo is going to remind us of the loyalty to ourselves, and that also relates to, yes, where we're investing our resources. And are we investing in people, places, activities, whatever it might be, that bring us that reciprocal energy? And if we are, because that's a desire of ours, that's our sacred flame, or that's what we feel will make our heart happy, does it actually, are we fully opening our heart to receive the experience from that person, group of people, place, thing, whatever it might be? Are we actually opening the heart space fully to its full capacity of receiving that joy? Because if we can do that, we're getting more in alignment with our spiritual truth. But also we can allow the heart chakra to expand more, to enable more blessings to come through. But if we've got that barrier up, understandably so in a lot of cases because of pain in the past, we need to understand where that's coming from and address it. And that's where Lilith can be helping us as the teacher to show us where these doubts or fears might be coming up. Certainly in terms of where we want to be recognized or seen when it comes to love, or courage, the Leo energy, and the full expression of self. So Lilith might be just reminding us where we've got a few fears or doubts so that we can process them. And then once we do that, we're going to naturally become more empowered in our sovereign self because we're more confident in ourselves. We can allow the heart chakra to open more, to receive more from these investments. But Venus allowing us to understand what needs to be cleaned up with the Virgo energy in terms of the heart space and in terms of our investments. And ultimately, where are we being loyal to ourselves? Do we need to be more loyal to ourselves? Okay, so just putting those questions out there as I'm saying them, you might already be resonating with those. Okay, this is all for our highest good. Remember that. And I said it was going to be a busy week. So as well as Venus moving into Virgo and Pluto going direct, we've then got Mars moving into Scorpio on the 12th of October. So again, that fiery, passionate energy could be quite sort of aggressive energy. So we don't want to get into any fights or anything, but it's very heavy masculine energy. Okay, so there could be some of that going on in the collective on a global scale, you know, when it comes to fighting or war or that kind of thing. It's you know, it's that kind of sort of energy, but also it can be the depth of the masculinity that's coming through. And remember, I said Venus in a new sign, Mars is going to be in a new sign. So there's almost an exploration of a new journey for the masculine and feminine also. But we then have a new moon in Libra on the 14th or 15th, depending on where you are in the world. For us in the UK, it'll be on the 14th, 1855. It's not just a new moon, it's a new moon with an eclipse. So this is about unavoidable change, and this is about illumination, perhaps revelations. You know, it's not a full moon with an eclipse, it's a new moon with eclipse, but even so, this is the start of eclipse season. And, you know, yes, new moon in Libra, we want to manifest into our life reciprocity and fairness. And this could relate to relationships because of Libra also relating to relationships, okay? With people, places, things. It doesn't have to just be people, but people, places, things. Remember, however, for the UK's chart, there's that trine when Pluto goes direct from Pluto across to Uranus, and that's happening in the 11th house. So that does involve connections with other people, okay? And where things need to change in accordance with worth and values. But ultimately, this is about restoring balance, reciprocity, fairness, equal give and take within relationships with people, places, things, even our thought patterns. We want this to be reciprocal. We don't want to be telling ourselves nonsense. We want to be, you know, fueling our thoughts with positivity, especially if we're wanting to invest in areas that bring us joy. We want to be feeling joy. We don't want to be feeling doubts or fears, etc. So we have relationships with many different things, okay? Not only people, but this could be pertinent to our relationships with people, especially where we want fairness and balance and reciprocity. And we've got that loving partnership energy that's been going on as well, okay? Within Venus and Juno and what we saw there before. So that's happening. And with this eclipse, this is like, I'm going to show you, you know, it's powerful energy, but positive energy. It's a new moon. This is about manifesting our reality. A lot of this has to, any manifestation, you know, a lot of it has to do with surrender. Okay. So manifesting, setting the intentions, but believing it, because you can go and manifest anything you want. And if you don't believe it, it's not going to make any difference whatsoever. We've got to meet the universe halfway. So as we're becoming more empowered as that sovereign self, our belief in our manifestations should also improve and become more confident in that way. And remember what I was saying about Pluto and Neptune. So relying on our intuition, trusting our intuition, and understanding the source energy that's within us to manifest, to be able to manifest. Okay. But belief and surrender are two key ingredients to that. Okay. And if it's in alignment with your divine truth, then the universe will deliver that, as long as you believe and you surrender and release expectation of outcome. Okay. So you can't go around manifesting a specific person. That's somebody else's free will, for example. So it's understanding that what you're manifesting, if it's true love, you know, a true divine soulmate partnership, that in divine timing, as long as you've got the belief and the surrender and releasing expectations of outcome, there's no reason why the universe can't deliver that to you. But if there's doubts or fears or hesitancy, that will just get manifested back to you. So that's what you'll receive. Yeah. So this is how it kind of works in that way. All right. But understand that this new moon in Libra, this is about newness in our relationships, but also just in terms of balance, reciprocity, and intention settings for that. Where do you want balance to be restored? Okay. Setting your intentions for that, understanding that this is part of the transformation journey. And then with the eclipse, it could illuminate a lot more. And then when we have the full moon in a couple of weeks' time, this is all about, okay, that's been illuminated to me. I need to release that, because we need to make space energetically to then be able to receive the new. We can't receive the new if we're holding on to the old that doesn't serve us. Okay, it's taking up energetic space. All right. So let's take some cards and see what other messages we have. Just going to take another sip of water. Okay. And I have my beautiful new deck. I will timestamp this, by the way, because some people might just want to go straight to the cards. But this is the deck that I've got, my new deck, The Unfolding Path. Beautiful. And I was very excited to get this. And it's very good card stock, okay? And that's what the back of the cards look like. So it's very kind of Venus-y energy, isn't it, in terms of that? But also beauty in the growth. That's an important message, just generally. I've got my Old Faithful here as well, like this tarot deck, favorite deck. Okay, because I might pull some cards, one for each sign. Okay, and then I've got the Stargazers Astrology deck, and I've got Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Okay, so let's see what we have. Okay, I'm going to use the Unfolding Path first of all, and this is relating to Pluto going direct. Okay, energy is fluid, time is an illusion. So it's not going to resonate for everybody. Okay, it's collective energy. There may be some messages in here for you. Okay. So let's see. What does the collective need to know for their highest good? in relation to Pluto going direct. Okay, I've had one fly out straight away. Wow. Okay, 10 of Pentacles in reverse. This one wanted to be seen. This is the quintessential dream of material, spiritual, emotional fulfillment with loyalty. And it's interesting because I was mentioning the Venus energy about being loyal to ourselves. Okay, when we're loyal to ourselves and we bring in the joy of what we want, anything is achievable. Okay, when it comes to that fulfillment energy. But there's stability to that as well because it's pentacle energy, but it's in reverse. So you might be thinking, when's that going to even arrive on my doorstep? So let's see, because that one just wanted to be seen. It just flew out. Okay, let's see what else we have for the collective, please. Pluto going direct. Do we have? That's the Knight of Pentacles, right? That's movement towards stability, but it's in reverse. So there could be resistance to that. Wow. Wheel of Fortune in the upright. Okay, this is getting interesting. Take a couple more, please. I'm on the floor. There's two. Wow, we have the Queen of Cups and the Seven of Wands together. Okay. This is very interesting because I was just saying, wasn't I? And it's a synchronicity from Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. About leading with the heart space. So that's the Venus energy. And also sovereignty here because it's the Queen of Cups. And Seven of Wands can be very kind of defensive. So there is a need to let the guard down a bit. So I was saying about the wall, you know, letting it down a bit. Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to take one more. Ten of Cups did fly out then. That's what's going to lead to emotional fulfillment. Okay. Oh, okay. We have Seven of Swords. Right. We have Seven of Swords. And on the bottom, we have Eight of Wands, which is movement. That can be communication as well, but that's on the bottom. That's hidden energy. So there is movement in this situation, but you might not feel like it. So what we had, first of all, and just get these in order, because we had two reversals, then the Wheel of Fortune, and then the other ones were in the upright position. So the Wheel of Fortune is the kind of, you know, the pivotal point, and the wheel wants to turn for us, of course. But that can also indicate fated and destined moments, okay? And also cycles, because it's number 10 of the major arcana. So we have here the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, okay? Perhaps feeling like this material, emotional, spiritual fulfillment that you want and desire is not here. And where is it? And actually feeling like you're missing something when it comes to that loyalty and stability. But understanding that with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, okay, this movement is something that we can actually drive forward ourselves, but there may be some resistance to that. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest knight of the deck, but the most reliable. So it's understanding, and again, it's that slow and steady approach, okay, to building up the stability. Maybe there's been a bit of impatience about it, and that's why it's in reverse. And it's understanding that that's been fated and destined, okay, to allow us that time for introspection, to go within. It may not feel like it's happening fast enough, but it's happening. The universe is working behind the scenes, but we are in charge of allowing the wheel to turn. Okay, the wheel wants to turn for us. The universe wants the wheel to turn for us. This is in the upright position, but there is a cycle that needs to close out in order for the wheel to turn forward. And when it does, okay, we have all the upright cards. Okay, so we're in control of the wheel, but the cycle needs to close out first. A cycle that's not been serving us, even if that is a cycle of negative thinking, because we did have Seven of Swords. And not only does this indicate deceptive individuals, it can also indicate self-sabotage. Okay? And I'm going to clarify that to see if that's what's coming through here. These two came out together. So in order for the wheel to turn and close out a cycle, we also need to remember that we need to be open to receive love and let that guard down a bit. Okay? Because that's what's potentially preventing this. Okay. And the Wheel of Fortune is also fixed energy. So it's all the fixed signs. Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio. So stubbornness. There could be stubbornness here to not make changes, to not close out cycles, but lead with your heart. That's the important message here. And don't self-sabotage opportunities, okay? Because there is movement here in the hidden energy, okay? I'm just going to use the Light Seers Tarot deck to clarify Seven of Swords. Is this a person that we're dealing with? Is this self-sabotage? Let's see. There's one that wanted to be seen already. Okay. Can we clarify, please, for the collective? Seven of Swords. Thank you. Ooh. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So Seven of Swords is clarified by the Knight of Wands in reverse, Ten of Pentacles in reverse. There we go again. And the Lovers in reverse. Okay. Now, to me, even though the Lovers in reverse has come out, I do not feel this is a soulmate connection. I do not feel that it's a deceptive soulmate, okay? I feel, because the Lovers is a choice, it represents a choice, and in reverse, even more so, okay? So this is about, that's interesting. Bear with me. Often I get these things happen. So my throat chakra. So this is about communication and expression. And look at the colors here. It's very much sacral and root vibe. So that sacred flame within and feeling grounded in a situation. Not only that, the hidden energy, Two of Pentacles in reverse. So similar color. And that's why I don't feel that it's necessarily a person that's deceptive. I feel this is self-sabotage, which was my initial thought, okay? And also because the two swords here are very prominent, and when it's Two of Swords on its own, that's also a choice, but it's fear of making a choice because we have a metaphorical blindfold, and he's kind of got a bit of a blindfold on. It's more of a mask because that's why it can indicate, you know, deceptive energy. But I'm feeling intuitively that this is about a choice, and there's self-sabotage going on, possibly through not making a choice. But Knight of Wands in this particular deck, this is banging the drum to the beat of your own soul. So this is what you want to do, okay? It's movement towards that Wands energy, what you want, what lights that flame within. So, you know, in the reverse, stagnation, not really moving towards what you want, not getting the stability that you want, the Ten of Pentacles, needing to make a choice, needing to make a choice, needing to make a choice, okay? So there is a choice of some kind, and it feels like it's to do with this Knight of Wands energy. And if this is resonating for you, that it is a person, of course, take it how it resonates. To me, this is to do with a choice. This is how it feels to me. And it's to do with, you know, because of the image here, this is to do with your own sacral energy and what you want to receive the joy from. Because remember, we have this going on. And the wheel wants to turn in your favor. But you need to understand that where there is no movement towards what you want to do, you're not going to receive that emotional, material, spiritual fulfillment. And that causes that stagnancy. But also, you know, this indecision of a choice. Both of those are in reverse as well. Okay, there could be some juggling going on. It might even be a choice between two people. It could be. Okay, remember, it's collective energy. There's a variety of different scenarios here. Okay, so that's what I would say from that. Let's see what we've got from the Stargazers Astro deck for the collective. And it's understanding, because it's for Pluto direct, you know, that transformation journey. Okay, maybe now you've got a choice to make about something, because the Pluto introspection has shown you that something needs to transform. And it could be as simple as not being in that self-sabotage energy. You know, you need to recognize that Seven of Swords, there's also strategy to that. So it's strategy in terms of moving forward based on what you want, not what other people want for you. Okay. Let's have a look. Stargazers Astro deck then, please. It just flipped over then and it was debilitated. Of course, it's discomfort. And that could be the uncomfortable energy that I was saying. Solar calm, clarify. Yeah, so clarification may be needed. Wow. Hidden energy, Virgo. Underneath Virgo, we have Pisces. And underneath Pisces, we have Jupiter. And underneath Jupiter, we have Libra. Underneath that, 11th house in reverse. Connections with others. So tidying up connections with others that are going to restore the balance of Libra, that's going to bring in the abundance of Jupiter, allow for that expansion, okay? But recognize that the Piscean energy of the intuition that I was referring to in the astrology, as well as the Virgo energy of cleaning things up and being loyal to oneself, is what's going to help propel you forward there. Final message from Wisdom of the Oracle for the collective. Flexible. Okay, so some adjustments may be needed. Oh my goodness me. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you. Wow. On the bottom, Treasure Island in reverse. This has come up before. So understanding what is Treasure Island for you, or who is Treasure Island for you, and what or who isn't. Let's not overthink. Okay, there's a need for contemplation. And if this is also attributed to strategy, yes, needing to apply that is swords energy. So using strategy and logic for that, but let's not overthink. There's a need to be flexible here. We need to feel into the situation. Use the Pisces Virgo energy hand in hand. Okay, they are opposite signs, but the intuition is there to help guide us in terms of what does need to be cleaned up. And we want to feel in control of things, obviously. But this is why this was a synchronicity from Spirit. Loyal heart. I've just been talking about loyalty. So this is understanding that you need to be loyal to yourself first and foremost. But that nurturing soulmate partnership energy that I picked up in the astrology, you know, from previous reports, this is about having that mirrored back to you, because they're looking at each other. And the wisdom that's inherently there. But loyalty, there's loyalty here. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, right, I'm going to wrap it up there. So I'm wishing you all the best for Pluto. Actually, I'm not going to wrap it up there. See, Pisces mind. Let's, I'm going to put those to one side. Okay, I'm going to take a card from the Light Seers Tarot deck for each of the signs. Okay. Each of the signs need to know, please. So Aries, first of all. Too many. Aries, you've got the Page of Swords. This is a quest of learning for you. This is a journey of exploration, and it's the beginning of something because it's the Page of Swords. You're learning something at this point. There is a bit of risk here, because notice that she's walking across that ravine on the sword of truth. But there is wisdom here. So this is all about learning. You're learning and discovering something. Taurus. Okay, there's a need to restore harmony and balance here because the Two of Cups is in reverse. Could relate to a soulmate connection, okay? But balance needs to be restored. Gemini. Judgment. Answer the call to your soul. Get into alignment with your spiritual truth, okay? Cancer. Wow. Star. This is powerful energy, major arcana as well. So this is all about healing, rebirth, okay, and hope. Leo. What do we have for Leo, please? Seven of Swords in reverse. Yes, so there is a need to release yourself from any deceptive or illusionary situations. Okay, this is a bit more sneaky on this particular depiction, but there is a need to recognize that perhaps the moon is going to show you something, is going to highlight something. Okay, Virgo. Thank you. Got the Page of Cups in reverse. So just like Aries had the Page of Swords, but in the upright, okay, it's the beginning of something. Now, this could be, Virgo, that it's the beginning of something when it comes to emotional fulfillment, Cups energy, that you feel is too good to be true. But there's purity and innocence there. Libra. The Emperor in reverse, right? Libra, you've got to step into your masculine energy, out of the ego, out of the fear, okay? Take back control and feel empowered to move forward in terms of what you want. Scorpio. Four of Wands. Could be a union on the cards for you, Scorpio. This is all about harmony, though. This is about, kindred spirit energy to restore the harmony, but it is the 1111 card. So it does make me think that this is to do with a union. And of course, I'm drawn to this tambourine that's a circle. So there's a cycle here. Could be a new cycle beginning relating to a union. Sagittarius. Step through the portal of transformation. This is the Pluto card, Sagittarius. Okay, this is death and rebirth. This is the Pluto card. This is the Scorpio card. So Sagittarius, you've got this transformation, beautiful transformation. Capricorn. Right, that's too many. I've got one over here. Three of Cups in reverse. Yeah, needed to find that kindred soul vibe with other people. This is all about, understanding who are your tribe, but also removing yourself from any third-party situations that are not serving you. And by that, I mean anything that's taking you away from doing what you want to do. And it all goes back to that investment of resources again, okay? Aquarius. Was quick. Right, there's stagnancy here, Aquarius. There's a need to move to calmer shores. In this deck, we have the three birds in the front, the three birds in the back representing the swords. And when we look at Three of Swords on their own, that's about pain and heartbreak. So it's allowing the wisdom from that pain and heartbreak to guide you forward, but leaving the pain in the past. So in reverse, you may just need to do that. Leave the pain in the past and allow the wisdom to guide you forward because there's currently stagnancy. Okay. Pisces. Pisces. Six of Wands in reverse. This is about another cycle here because I'm drawn to this circle, okay, where there's some lack of recognition, or perhaps you're feeling not being seen at the moment, not being recognized for what you want to do, and something needs to close out as a result, okay? Hidden energy for everybody, Seven of Wands. Yeah, this is all about protecting your energy, but allowing the walls to come down, of course, not being fully in your bubble, being protected in your bubble, but also allowing the good stuff to reach you. Ten of Wands in reverse, allowing a cycle closeout to happen. We saw right there, didn't we, from a collective perspective, Wheel of Fortune, okay, cycle closeouts as well. And then Queen of Cups in reverse. So yes, definitely that reminder to lead with the heart space, okay, to be open to receive, because in that deck, It's one of my favorite cards, actually. She's got her hands open to receive. Okay. But it's to do with the heart because it's cups energy. Okay. It's receiving emotional fulfillment and feeling worthy enough to receive that reciprocal energy. Okay. So I hope that finds you well. And I wish you all the best for Pluto going direct and everything else we've got coming up this week. Of course, I will be doing another report for the new moon with eclipse. Okay. And just to also say, you know, in terms of the house systems, when you think of Pluto going direct, of course, Pluto is in Capricorn, will be turning direct in Capricorn. So for Capricorn risings, and this is the standard rule of thumb, it's not going to be for everybody, because I've seen enough charts to know that it's not simply one house to one sign. Okay, we're all unique and it's very different. But if you're going to base it on a standard rule of thumb of one house per sign, for Capricorn rising, Capricorn is the first house. So Pluto would be in your first house. So Pluto would be going direct in your first house of self. Deep transformation when it comes to the self. Okay. For Aquarius, that would be the 12th house. So that's the hidden subconscious house. For Pisces, it would be the 11th house. Okay, Pisces rising, I'm talking about, not Pisces sun sign. This is about the first house being the rising. Okay, so Pisces risings, 11th house of connections with others, deep transformation going on in connections with others. And then you start back again, you've got Aries, that would be the 10th house, Aries rising, 10th house of inner authority. Okay, that's where Pluto would be going direct. Taurus would be the 9th house of learning and discovery. Gemini would be the 8th house of power. Okay, also passion, but yes, power. Where am I up to with my signs? That was Gemini, wasn't it? Cancer, yes, Cancer would be the 7th house. So Cancer rising would be the 7th house of relationships with people, places, things. Now, this is an example of why I say not every chart is one sign for one house, because I showed you the UK's natal chart. And in fact, I'm going to pull it up again just to prove my point here, because I'm obviously looking at the UK's natal chart, just like I would look at anybody's natal chart. Okay. And the transits against them. That's how you do it with astrology. So notice that this chart is a Cancer rising. Okay. So on that basis, right, Pluto should in theory be in the 7th house, shouldn't it? Because of what I've just said. But look, Pluto's transiting through the 6th house. Okay. So that's why I'm saying that it depends on how the house system is for your chart, because the transits are against your natal chart. So it's based on the natal chart of the person. Okay. That's just an example. But to finish that off, I mean, Leo would actually be, so Leo rising, it would be the 6th house. Okay. So this is similar to that, but it's an explanation of why it's unique. Okay. And hopefully people are following what I'm saying and it's not just astrological talk. Because it's important, you know, because we can give collective information, but until you look at your own natal chart, you know, your 6th house might be something completely different. You know, it's just unique to everybody. Virgo, it would be the 5th house of love. Libra would be the 4th house of foundations. Scorpio, the 3rd house of expression and communication. Sag would be the 2nd house of worth and values. And then we're back to Capricorn, 1st house. Okay. So we know, yeah, Capricorn rising is going to be the 1st house. Absolutely. Because Pluto is in Capricorn. But the houses after that, yeah, it could be anything because of how astrology charts work. Okay, so enough of that. Maybe I'll do a video on that one day if people would find that helpful to go into detail about the different houses and how it might apply to your chart. But, you know, without your chart being read against the transits, it can only be provided as a collective sort of blanket statement of, okay, if you're a Capricorn rising, it would be this. If you're a Pisces rising, it would be this. But your chart may be completely different. Okay, right. Sending you all the best for Pluto going direct. Enable yourself to understand and recognize where you can move forward and apply that introspection of the deep transformation that's needed. And certainly with Venus in Virgo, understand where your loyalty is in terms of your investments in people, places, things, whatever it might be, including your own thoughts. Okay, so be loyal to yourself and embrace the deep transformation that's going on. Okay, and I'll be back for another report for the new moon with eclipse this coming weekend. Right, take care, everybody. Sending you love and blessings.